welcome to No, 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 Jack. A video podcast for your viewing pleasure. And it's about Jack. And Jack's up here with me, and a couple of guys. He's got a split personality. There's a picture of him right here. At some point I'll probably zoom in, and it's a young lad there, and he's supposed to be facing the corner, but he's defiant and he's not doing it. Not only that, he's broken his slate, and he's scratched up the wall, and he's torn his clothes off. And that's one side of this character. The other side of the character is here. He's got a little desk, probably can't see it, in his chair, and he's facing the wall because he wants to fit in. He doesn't care. Sort of a split personality kind of a creature. And Jack came to me from my grandmother. I had this condition. We didn't know it was Tourette's at the time, but it was later defined as such. And my parents had trouble. I was unruly and unmanageable. That was the category I was in at the early age. She would ship me to the farm to my mother's mother, who had a farm. She was a farmer. And so if you wanted to change stations out here, you needed somebody to get on the roof and swivel the antenna. Swearing at the top of his freaking lungs, he would be, if it was me. It wouldn't go over too well in suburbia to have some crazy kid on your roof swearing at the top of his lungs. However, out here on the farm, no one noticed, so it was safer. Because I was sent back in time, I am from a different era. I'm 60 years old, and I was shipped back to my grandmother's, and that was a different era than you could possibly imagine today. So different. For example, my grandmother's a mythical, heroic figure that really existed. That's how I can say about her. I mean, she put it this way, she killed cows with a hammer. I saw a thing on Facebook, and there was like this poor beaten woman. She was there in the corner cowering from her husband. He was going to hit her with the belt. And I went, what? Wait a minute. She doesn't know how to use a fucking hammer to kill a cow? Because you better not fall asleep. And my grandmother told me that it was a good thing he didn't die because they would have put her in jail for murder if he had. So, it was a different era. I saw my grandma pick up 2 40-pound sacks of feed at 59, balance them on her back with her neck, walk a considerable distance, and flip them into a nice, neat stack. I saw a model on TV representing what we're going to see for, hey, they're going to look back at our era. We've got video. Look at the video. Here's the model. Here's what happened. There was an 8-pound chunk of metal she tried to pick up. 8 pounds. My grandmother was 10 times stronger than her at 59. It was a heroic era. She was real, and I felt her. She broke a couple of brooms over my back. The one she bought from the store wasn't too bad. It was not bad. The broom she had made herself, however, I still remember that thing smacking home. Oh, yes. Those store-bought brooms are much better. If you want to take less of a beating. Anyway, you should tell Jack stories. And I have one about this character here. It's Halloween after all. And this is a jack-o'-lantern. Which, according to my grandmother's story, is how it's called a jack-o'-lantern, I guess. So I was like, well, this is going to be a blast from the past. This is from the old time. This is from the old school. This is sit around the campfire, hang out in the parlor, and entertain ourselves kind of stories. that my grandmother was, her era. That was her era. She farmed a 180-acre field. All right, 180-acre farm. 100 was for just cows grazing. There was 80 acres that they plowed with a team of horses, Belgians, Belgian horses. She loved those things. She thought the advance from oxen to Belgian horses was a huge advance for mankind. Whereas a tractor was just a railroad train that had gone off the rail. That was her perspective. In case you wanted to butter, she was like, these morons, it's not bad for you. You know, once you fucking make the hay and fucking pull the cow out of the thing and kill the fucking cow and milk the goddamn shit and then churn the fucking butter. Eat the fucking butter. Just eat the fucking butter. Don't worry about it's not bad for you. She's like, it's fine. It's just like, yeah, now butter's bad for you. Really? I'm going to tell you why butter's bad for you, because you now can get it magically. It's magic. Just go to the store and give it money. Money's magic. I saw a PhD economist guy on TV recently and said, yeah, it's just faith. Yeah, goods and services, no. The goods went to China. The services went to India. We're not backing it with that anymore. Gold, Ron Paul, idiot. Right. It's just a faith-based system. That's all it is. So, you know, that's what you have. And, you know, my grandmother would have appreciated that joke. That's how she was. Now, Jack, you see, Jack, here's the story. Jack, poor Jack. He's a naughty boy. I heard he grew up. I did. I heard he had grown up, you know, because I heard Jack Spratt had a spat with his wife. And also I heard Jack of all trades, but the thing was, the Jack I knew from my grandmother was just a lad doing the best he could. He had no superpowers, but he was always against beings with superpowers. But he always, with pluck and determination, overcame his odds. It was, my grandmother was Norwegian. She spoke Norwegian early in her life and ran into some English. So, you know, when I think about the way she told the story, I'm like, yeah, obviously it's a mashup. It's a Nordic saga intersposed with, she ran into some English. That's how she explained it. She ran into some English. It was an accident. It was a mess, I know. But she worked something out. However, my family was from Bergen, Norway, which I didn't realize, but there's racism in Norway. You know, it's like talking to some Norwegian, hey, yeah, I'm a Norwegian too. Where's your family from? Bergen. Oh, that explains it. Like, what? Yeah, most Norwegians don't like people from Bergen. It's like, really? That explains why they came over here then, huh? Okay, well, what did they do wrong? And he said, the way he explained it was, in short order, during the Viking era, when they would get in their boats and go sailing around and cause trouble. You know, some of them would, a lot of mercenaries would be soldiers for other, you know, yeah, who doesn't want a berserker on their fucking side, you know? They'll pay them good money for that. Some of them would break into churches and steal their silver goblets and stuff like that. And some of them even explored, I guess, North America. But the Bergen Norwegians, someone went, there's brown women. If you go down to Sicily or Spain, brown women, they're like, fuck the goddamn silver chalices. They got in their boats and they went down and they they borrowed some women. Therefore, I've been told that they are mixed. They're mixed. They're mixed. I was like, fuck, even in Norway, huh? Son of a bitch. I can't believe it. But anyway, so it was. It may have been a mashup prior to her running into some English. I don't know. So here's the story. Jack one day He was thinking a lot of himself. He had confidence. And he thought he was smart enough to figure out how to fly. And so he built himself some wings. And he climbed up onto the roof of his house. And it didn't work out too well. He died. See, you can have a lot of confidence in 1 second, the next thing you're dead. See how that works? Poor Jack. It's right away, the day didn't go the way he had hoped. Okay, so there he is at the pearly gates up there, talking to St. Peter. St. Peter's looking very amused and bemused at Jack. Jack, what are you doing here, buddy? He's like, I guess I just died. St. Peter goes, hey, Jack, clearly, we were watching you, we were amused. We were, you trying to fly. Yeah, we were watching, everybody was rapt. We were focused on you, Jack. And you took that first step, and you know what we heard? Jesus motherfucking Christ came clearly out of your mouth. It's like Jack's like, I have Tourette's. I was expecting more lift from what I had here than what I was getting. I was shocked. My calculations were off. Sorry, and then he said, and remember just before you planted your face into that rock that your granny thought looked beautiful in the front yard? Yeah, that one? Yeah, just before then, we heard, God damn, come clearly out of your mouth. So Jack said, hey, look, I knew I was going to have this kind of problem. I know he's very forgiving and gracious. And I know if I ask for forgiveness, he will. I know it's number 4 on the list, thou shalt take the blame, whatever. I know. Peter, skip it. All right, look, I sent up that thing, dear God, I sent it up, dear God, should I fuck up just before I die? Which I thought was a good possibility, knowing myself. And, I do have Tourette's after all. I might goddamn something. Please know if I have time I would ask for forgiveness. And Peter said, yeah, you got that. He laughed and he rejected it because he said if he gave you carte blanche like that, he didn't know what you could get up to. So the poor Jack thought he could fly, and now rejected out of heaven. All right, that country club did not want him. He did not fit their mold. Right down into hell. Now hell, see I have a depiction of heaven and hell here. Well, that's one of the depictions it is, if you can see it. It's white on top, and it's black on the bottom. You see, white and black, good and bad, in and out. Up and down, that kind of thing. Well, one of them's black and one of them's white. It's always been that way. And, I don't know why white's on top and black's on the bottom, but that's our culture. So, hell is black as hell. Right. Okay, so that's hell on the bottom. And Jack got down there and he couldn't see a fucking thing. It was black as hell. Well, the devil comes by every day with breakfast, I guess, because he wants to keep them alive. He wants to feed them so they can suffer longer, because that's his job, tormenting souls. And he also brings along his hellfire, which is what he uses to torment souls, in case he needs to torment them all along the way. Well, it's his job. He has to do it during the day. He's busy. Anyway, so he's got it with him. And Jack felt cheated out of heaven on a technicality. And he told the devil where he could stick his breakfast. Now that morning, I guess they were serving squash. Although in my grandmother's story, I believe it was some sort of brassica. It could have been cabbage or a rutabaga. However, in this story, things change. They're having squash for breakfast. Okay? Now, Jack, he told the devil where he could stick it. And the devil then said, "Oh, well, you just decided you're going to be the first soul of the day I decide to torment." So he got a big fucking chunk of hellfire and burned the shit out of Jack. Jack's screaming like a little baby. And he's like, "I thought I could fly this morning. I just got kicked out of fucking heaven. And now this motherfucker is burning the shit out of me." And he was pissed. Well, the devil had other souls to torment, obviously, and moved on from Jack. And Jack took breakfast, which was squash, I guess, or pumpkin that morning, scooped up hellfire, which will never go out, by the way. Jack started to look around with his lantern. Hell. And he goes, "Look, there's a door there to get out, there's a door there to get out, there's a door there to get out, there's a door there to get out," and he left. He's like, "I'm done with hell, I'm out of here." So he got back up to where he was prior, just jumping off the roof. And he was sitting there thinking, from the roof to the ground, that's not that much fun. I just went from heaven to hell and back up again. That's a ride! Woo! So Jack, well, he decided he couldn't get into heaven, but he could get out of hell and just find his way back in. So, when Jack wants to have fun, Jack goes to hell. That's more or less the story my grandmother told me. Yeah, there was suffering. I don't believe I brought in suffering. Well, I burned the shit out of it, I know. There was suffering. Grandma's story. But essentially, that's the elements. And black as hell, jack-o'-lantern got his way out. And now, of course, all lives need a musical soundtrack, right? Jackie is just slipping away. He thought he could fly for just one day. Then I guess he had to crash. A jack-o'-lantern helped that bash. I said, "Hey baby, take a walk on the wild side." I said, "Hey honey, on the wild side you're gonna see." Little Joe, he just could not give it away. And everybody had to pay. They had to pay. Hustle here and a hustle there. New York City, the place where, hey baby, take a walk on the wild side. I said, "Hey honey, on the wild side." Sugar Plum Fairy came and hit the streets. He was looking for soul food, not a thing he could eat. Went to the Apollo, should have seen him go. Hey, take a walk on the wild side. I said, "Hey honey, Candy came from out on Long Island. In the back room she was everybody's darling, and she never lost her head. Even when she was given head, she said, "Hey baby, take a walk on the wild side." I said, "Hey sugar, Jackie just slipped away, 'cause he could fly for a day. And then I guess he had to crash. Jack